you see something, you're like, oh, which way do I want to go? Moment of indecision, and you kind of stall out there, and then have a look at what's coming next before you roll in. Hey, Jamie here from New Zealand Mountain Biking. I'm here with Bradley. If you don't know what we do, we are based here in Rotorua and we run lessons and tours. This is just a real basic video on a pretty handy skill, which is being able to do a track stand. So this requires a lot of balance in order to feel stable, and it's super useful when you come up to something on a trail that's low speed, or you get up to something that you couldn't quite see over and you want to have a quick look before you get moving again. Or if you're just bored in the car park waiting for your mates to show up. So a little progression here to help you get track standing. It's hard to just start and expect that you can stay still. So what we've done is we've set up 2 cones, 1, 2. They're not too far away because you don't want to be looking way out into the distance as if you're going for a lovely romantic walk down the beach. You want to be able to still see the front of your bike and where you're going. So when we actually are track standing on the trail, we're looking more down at a feature. But when we're practicing, it's nicer to have this big open space so that it's less stress and you can relax. Now the reason we started on here, so either a slight downhill or on the flat, is because the first thing you want to be able to do is just modulate the brakes. So just practicing your braking at a super low speed. Right on, so from cone 1 to cone 2, they're really close together. Look where he's looking only a bike length or 2 in front of his bike. And this is really good for practicing modulating your speed with your brakes. So low speed braking. As soon as you let off the brakes, gravity, if you have a slight downhill, is gonna start moving you again. So that's really, really helpful. The next one is to go uphill, and this is gonna help you learn how to ratchet with your pedals. Bradley's gonna give you a nice little demonstration of that. So he's not doing full pedal strokes. He's only going like halfway or a quarter of the way, and then the better you get, the smaller your ratchets. So as you have this slight uphill, it helps you practice your ratcheting, so getting some speed from pedaling, and also your modulating of your brakes. This is going to be super hard if you're in way too easy of a gear or way too hard of a gear, because if you're in too easy and you go to pedal, there's going to be no pressure there, and if you're in too hard of a gear, you're going to struggle. So depending on your little hill will depend on your gear as well. So if you're finding it really, really hard, go easier. If you're finding it way too easy, there's nothing there, go a little bit harder. Right on, so the next progression after the cones is to find something like this post, and you want your front tyre to be just a little bit away from it so that you can lean the front wheel onto it, kind of turning into it. And then the better you get, the lower down you can find this little nub to start leaning on. A next progression would be finding a little lump like this, something, a log, a stick, a curb that you can rest your front tyre against, and that way the bike becomes way more stationary and you are just on top of it doing real micro movements. You're still using that pressure on your pedals when you need it, you're still using your brakes when you need it, but it will get you way more comfortable with staying still. Righto, so first thing we're going to start with is Bradley's beautiful eyes. If you see where they are looking kind of a bike length or so in front of him, but they're scanning. They're not just staying in one spot, they're moving around so that he can see the bike, see where he's about to go if he does start moving, and he's just going between the two. The next is, you can see him on the brakes. So he's kind of modulating the brakes. He is not just locking his fingers, he is kind of letting the bike move when it needs to so that he can bring the bike back underneath him as it moves. And then looking at his pedals. So he's got a funny thing going on here with the gearbox, but look at a different video for that. Now he's got his feet even, and what he's doing is ratcheting. So he's only putting pressure on that front foot when he needs to, and he's kind of pedaling backwards and forwards so that if he needs to roll back, he's kind of got no pressure on the pedals, and if he needs to go forwards to get the bike back underneath him, he just pushes on that front foot. And then look at his stance. So really he's in that reset stance that I talk about in our intermediate body position video. So he's pretty straight, pretty tall, little bend in the knees so they're soft and the bike can move underneath him, little bend in the elbows so that when the bike needs to go to the left or to the right it can, and that's pretty much it. So when you are actually on the trail and you're doing this for real, it looks something like this. You come in and you see something, you're like, oh, which way do I want to go? Moment of indecision, and you kind of stall out there and then have a look at what's coming next before you roll in. So there you have it, track stands. Easy to practice at home, super, super helpful when you're out on the trail. So remember, if you are watching this video and you think it's pretty helpful, share it with a friend, and if you do actually want to improve some skills, come and join us for a lesson. Cheers, Bradley.
Hey.